15th ranked UFC bantamweight and 2021 main event feature Norma Dumont is going to be taking on the three-time U.S. national boxing champion, 1-0 Danielle Wolfe in a very, very odd fight. And I can break it down in many, many different ways, but I will say for Norma Dumont, you look at it coming into the UFC, gets knocked out and dropped by a right cross against Megan Anderson. It was clean. It was right in the center of the cage. It was a marquee moment for Megan Anderson. She gets a win over Ashley Evans-Smith, Felicia Spencer, Aspen Ladd, and loses by split decision to Macy Chiasson, which was a little bit of a surprise because Chiasson had a lot of success in that matchup. If you do look at it for Dumont, as I mentioned, she is ranked 15th in the women's bantamweight division, but I think that Stephanie Egger and Jocelyn Edwards have better calls to that 15th ranked spot because the last win at bantamweight for Dumont was against Ashley Evans-Smith, November 2020, where Dumont weighed 139.5 pounds, Matt. So very, very odd stuff, and it's an odd ranking for her. You do look at it, though, and you want to consider her background. She is a black belt in Sanda, Chinese kickboxing, and it really is apparent when you do watch her fight. She's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and for Norma Dumont, she can really do work in all three aspects of the game. She's not a fish out of water on the ground, and you did see that with takedowns over Felicia Spencer, Ashley Evans-Smith, and Aspen Ladd, and the last two of those fights were Spencer and Ladd. That's pretty impressive to be able to do that against those two fighters.
What I like about Norma Dumont is she can do whatever her opponent's weakness is, and that's normally the path that she'll take. Like, if you're a really good striker, she can take you down and control you from the top position, go for submissions. If you're a really good grappler, she can force the fight to be on the feet and kind of expose your weaknesses in the striking department. But the issue is, if you are that upper echelon striker, you can get to Norma Dumont. It's not that she's impossible to hit by any means. Like, Macy had a lot of success with her own volume striking in that matchup, was able to land clean on numerous different attempts and combinations. So I do think there's going to be a world where Danielle Wolfe is going to be able to land a lot of her boxing combinations. The problem is, can Norma Dumont just take her down immediately and choke her out? Like, there's a part of me that just feels like this is a bit of a mismatch from Jump Street. I know Wolfe's been working on her MMA game for a long time. She is a very high-level athlete. I'm not trying to diminish her accomplishments in combat sports whatsoever. But the difference is, Norma Dumont has only cared about MMA for a meaningful period of time now, and she is a high-level grappler. I don't know how much work Wolfe has been able to do to make up the difference in those two departments. Like, could we just be seeing a Mickey Gall versus a CM Punk? And not that Danielle Wolfe is like CM Punk to where she's coming from a fake sport, but Mickey Gall was a brown belt. He wasn't some, like, world-class black belt who was beating everybody.
Fake sport. It's still real to me, damn it.
Exactly. But you get the idea. Mickey Gall wasn't, like, the greatest grappler of all time. He's a good MMA grappler, don't get me wrong. But just being a brown belt, he made CM Punk look like he didn't even belong in there, because he didn't. Could there not be a world where Norma Dumont does the exact same thing to Wolfe?
I think you're really discrediting Danielle Wolfe because her story's kind of wild. She got into boxing at a late age. She was 25 when she put the boxing gloves on and then really transitioned into the amateur ranks. And if you do look at it, women's welterweight didn't have a spot in the London Olympics, didn't have a spot in the Rio Olympics. And then by 2020, she was able to get into trials, but not make it to the team. So if you do look at it for Wolfe, I was kind of reading through some things. I mean, Topology has her boxing record is 27-14, but in an interview that she did with Sean Bitter in 2020 with Cage Side Press, she said, well, that's not really true. I mean, in her own words, she was somewhere around 64-9. But regardless of that, she just had to kind of compete in the national tournaments, and she was able to become a national champion 2013, 14, and 15. She's had multiple belts. She was a national Golden Gloves champion, not just like the Houston Golden Gloves champion or like the Texas Golden Gloves champion. She was able to win it nationally at 152 pounds. She is a 152-pound IBJJF champ. If you read that in her Instagram bio, and if you don't really look into it, that was in the white belt category, so it is what it is. It's impressive nonetheless. All of these accolades are very impressive, and the thing that you mentioned that really isn't going to get talked about enough, she's 1-0 in MMA, and her pro debut was on Dana White's Contender Series, where she lost a very close decision and almost got finished in the second round against Tanisha Tenen. But I will say this, in all of the times where she wasn't able to compete in the Olympics, she said, oh, okay, well, I'm going to focus on MMA. And if you look at it on her Instagram, you go way, way back, because Danielle Wolfe's a known commodity for a long time. She was in the 2014 Body issue with ESPN. And Matt, when I thought of that, I thought, wasn't
Was it Kevin Love one?
No, that was a Prince Fielder one.
Yikes.
That was the best one.
That was vegan Prince Fielder, right? He got thin for that.
Yeah, that was the best one. But if you do focus on it, Danielle Wolfe, people have known about her for a long time. And again, if you go back, way back on the Instagram time machine, she was at City Kickboxing before it was cool. She was at Tiger Muay Thai. She's been at King. She's been at Alliance. She's been getting ready for MMA fights for a long time. She was just stuck in a bubble of, this woman has so much experience in boxing outside of an octagon. Nobody wanted to take amateur fights with her, and nobody wanted to take pro fights with her. And now she's finally getting her opportunity.
And I still think she's really going to struggle with the grappling of Norma Dumont. Again, I don't discredit any of her background. That is all very significant. But there's a big gap in the grappling between someone who has been focusing on boxing for a lot of their life and Norma Dumont, who is a real brown belt, who has had success with her grappling at the UFC level. And if you're able to grapple with someone like Aspen Ladd for any period of time, I think you're going to be able to beat somebody, again, who won a white belt tournament at the ADCC. That's still significant. IBJJF, thank you. Sorry, wrong organization. But again, I just think there's a gap in the difference between these two's grappling. Now, again, like I said with Norma Dumont, does she struggle with rangy strikers? Of course she does. So I do think there's a world where Danielle Wolfe is able to work behind her jab, use a lot of volume, and use a lot of those great boxing skills to her advantage. I just think at a certain point, the clinch is going to get to her. She's going to start to wear down from some of the more unorthodox attempts that you get from MMA, and I do expect Norma Dumont to win on the in-betweens. It's kind of like how they tell you small market baseball teams have to win. They got to find their niche and exploit it. For Norma Dumont, I do think her experience in the sport is going to help her a lot, and again, I do believe she's going to hold a significant grappling advantage in this matchup.
Norma Dumont, the Oakland A's of MMA. Matt, when it comes to the odds in this one, Dumont open at -350 favorite, -324 as it stands. For Wolfe, open +285, +251. We have a look at the Topology votes, Matt. Surprise to us there to you. Over under 92% Dumont.
I'll say under, but probably high.
Oh, you son of a gun. 713 total votes, 91% Dumont, 77% by decision. For the 9% that have Wolfe, 50% by decision, 44% by knockout, 6% of those sickos have her to win by submission. Matt, the thing that I didn't love about Danielle Wolfe against Tanisha Tennant on Dana White's Contender Series 2020, because it's not like it was this year or last year, it's been since 2020, is the fact that she threw a ton of volume but didn't land with much accuracy.
We call that the Jody Escobar.
It was double up, triple up jab, right hand. It was kick, reset, get moving, and then get blitzed. And the trouble was, for Tennant, she was landing punches from non-boxing angles. Like, they were weird angle punches from Tennant, and credit to her, they were pretty darn good. Almost finished her in the second round. And Wolfe didn't really have the defenses for it. Maybe it's just not having the boxing gloves to defend against some of those strikes.
No problem, Black. The MMA angles of Conor McGregor are going to bother Floyd Mayweather.
But for me, I like Norma Dumont in this matchup for those reasons. When she does hit, she throws with decent accuracy. She does throw with decent power. And I do like her grappling in a matchup like this. So I have Dumont. If you have Danielle Wolfe, she won her last fight throwing a ton of volume like Caitlin Chukagian, not landing on a lot of it and got a win. And Dana White after the fact said, hey, a lot of people on Twitter aren't happy that, Wolfe won the fight because they thought Tennant did. I thought Tennant did. And at the end of it, they don't sign the contract. So we're taking Danielle Wolfe. Wow. But I do have Norma Dumont in this matchup. I think Danielle Wolfe has all of the powers in the world behind her to get ready for a matchup like this. The boxing accolades. She's been working with her jiu-jitsu, her wrestling, and so on and so forth in the San Diego area. Plenty of women to get ready for a matchup like this. But I do have the 15th ranked bantamweight Dumont.
Yes, so do I. I expect Norma Dumont to excel in this matchup.
Both of us going with Norma Dumont to get the win. It is a big-time matchup. Comment below with who you have in this one. I'm really eager to hear your thoughts on the matchup. Big-time main event on this card. Khamzat Chimaev taking on Nate Diaz for a chance at I don't know what.
Are you not entertained?
Keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks, we always say.
Let's get into it.